It's the Movie Toasty Show, here for you. Dennis and Adam joke about orgasms and sweet movie reviews. We talk about TV too, right?
I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Movie Toast.
Hello, Toasties. Welcome to another wonderful episode of Movie Toast News and Reviews. Thank God it worked. That's where we're at, folks. Sorry.
2 nights in a row, technical
delay.
difficulties.
God damn it.
Episode 207, here we are, our Valentine's 2025 episode.
Yes.
And there's no reason to call it that, but the next week releases. Yeah. Fuck it. Yeah.
Not to call it the Super Bowl episode or anything. That's fine.
Is that? Oh shit! Is that coming up next week Sunday. Or something? This Sunday?
It's coming. Yes. Yep.
What teams are? I don't even know anything about sports. So.
Yeah. No, it is the Eagles and the Chiefs. So
Philadelphia and Kansas.
Kansas City. Yeah.
Okay.
So not excited about anybody, but it'll be an excuse
to
to watch some football
all the time.
Yeah, every football game is yeah, exactly. Unless you're holding a controller playing Madden. That is not the case here. But
I am a child, Dennis. So much so, I'm excited about something that our old friends in Warner Brothers Home Video recently sent us.
Oh.
And by us, I mean me. They sent me the box. I can't show it here, but there's a fucking little picture if you're watching the stream.
That's awesome.
The complete series of regular show on DVD. It has all 245 episodes, all the specials, the movie, all in one box for $69.99, available wherever. It's a bargain.
I was gonna say, for that much regular, for all of regular show,
the
that's
regular
a great
show.
deal. Awesome. Oh, badass, man.
Yeah,
no, that's great.
I love that show. I remember they sent out something in December. They're like, if you want it, let us know. And I got back really late and they never responded. And then I was walking out my door and there was a package. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Nice.
Pumped. But
see, that's the version of "you're fired" that comes to my mind when the phrase is said.
Benson?
Yes, all I can see is Benson.
Fuck.
Just going ape shit.
Fuck the other "you're fired" guy.
Oh, yeah. Fuck.
Unless we're talking Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I don't think he said that on that show.
I hope so.
I never
that would be acceptable, at least.
Right.
But
what's new with you? What's going on besides being saddened by the football playing teams in the bowl of super people?
The sports ball teams.
Yeah.
So, I did a little toy commercial for a little flick coming out called "How to Train Your Dragon" this last week. That was fun, getting to do a little miniature work and dancing around some miniature Viking village huts. It looks cool. Can't say any more than that because I want to get hired again. So I'll leave it at that. But what I've seen of this live action version of it, it looks cool. So not that I get to see much, but reference stills and a couple of things. It was neat.
A little bit more than me and the other plebeians of the internet.
There you go. Yeah, I guess you could say that. But yeah. So that's what I was up to.
Not bad.
About yourself?
A lot of nothing. I started a job, and that's a very loose term. Not an entertainment job, but I've been catching up on a lot of TV and getting paid.
There you go.
So
hey,
I
nice.
can't complain. Yeah.
I guess the term is now survive through 25.
Yes, for me at least. But hey, I'm happy you got a gig. That's pretty good.
You know what? I got to say, everyone I talked to, it was the same story. Even the toy tech I talked to, he said he hadn't had a toy tech job since the last time I saw him on set a year ago. So
damn,
it's been, and my other art department friends, it's been pretty slim pickings. So,
well, hopefully things turn around for you guys out there in California with the whole bring productions back, which I feel like a part of me is like, well, why don't we just call it bring it back to United States? But I get you need to work because all that jazz. Speaking of which, did you hear that at the end of February there's going to be something called the MegaCon? They're doing this like Comic-Con where all the proceeds go to people in California affected by the fires.
No, I hadn't heard about that yet. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, so you should check that out. I believe it's called MegaCon. I think it's like February 22nd.
Oh, nice.
Out there in Los Angeles.
Oh, badass.
So
I'm curious what they could wrangle together that fast. That's impressive,
Yeah. So I'm intrigued, but I guess like if people take pictures and pay for it, all that goes to people. You buy stuff. I don't know. I'm intrigued. If I was out there, I definitely would check that out.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Well, I'll have to keep an eye out for that. Keep an eye out for that, Toasties. See if we can get an inside look at that event. That'd be pretty cool.
For sure. And I guess we should start off with the first segment of the show here, maybe. A little thing we'd like to call news.
Let's do it.
Gather round, folks, it's time for the scoop. Tune your ears in, let's join the loop.
Join that loop, buddy. What do you got for us?
All right. The loop has been opened, at least it will be. For a while, there was talk that the director of Conclave was going to be doing the new Oceans movie. But now it seems with the success of Conclave, he has his choice of everything under the sun. And they've moved on to the director of The Fall Guy, Mr. David Leitch, is now the top runner to be directing the Oceans film.
Okay. It seems like a clash in styles.
Yes. But I guess he did work on Bullet Train with Clooney. Wow, I'm just saying names now. Brad Pitt.
Yep.
So I guess there's that. But I still feel like if you're making an Oceans movie, you need Soderbergh because
it's so much more stylistic.
Style.
Yeah, it's between the music and the flow of the edits and your like occasionally artistic or unusual camera coverage they'd use.
The zoom ins,
yeah, that's what you expect to see. He doesn't strike me as the kind of director to tackle that sort of film, but I mean, I don't know.
He gets comedy, he gets action, but I don't know if he gets heist. Hopefully,
it is a particular fusion of those things. Although you did just say that's the two core genres I feel you need to really master in an Oceans film. So maybe it'll still hit close to the mark. Yeah, I'm curious.
I guess. I mean, it's still rumored, so maybe it's going to be someone else. Maybe this movie will never happen. But I guess time will tell, I suppose. Up next, we have another Brad Pitt story here. It sounds like Brad Pitt is going to be working with David Ayer on a new action movie called Heart of the Beast. It's going to center around a former Army Special Forces soldier and his retired combat dog. Both have to battle for survival after a plane crash deep in the unforgiven Alaskan wilderness.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Like a man versus nature story. All right. That's cool. All right. I like those. I guess
kind of like The Gray, that Liam Neeson movie, but with Pitt and a dog. I mean, who doesn't want that?
I'm here for that. And when the star and the dog are on the same team rather than being against each other.
Right. And if anybody gets action, David Ayer is a fantastic action director. Some of his movies may be schlocky, but some are realistic and gritty. So I think
there's definitely an understanding there.
That.
Yeah. Nice. Oh, that sounds more my speed right there.
Right. And then up next, we have another movie here with some talented folks. A movie that's been in the works for a couple of years now, and it's been on again, off again. But it seems like 20th Century has now decided to put their money behind Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio in an adaptation of a book called The Devil in the White City. You know anything about this book?
Funny enough, I have a copy of the book. I haven't read it yet. Shit. My sister actually, she read it and gave it to me to read. And she gave me a quick rundown of the setup of it. It sounds awesome.
Right? I read the description and I'm like, holy fuck, this sounds badass.
Yeah. Oh, okay. These sounds like the right combination of elements for a fantastic film right here. For sure.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully it doesn't fall through, but I guess time will tell. Speaking of falling through, we're getting two, not just one, but two deceased Ghostface killers returning in Scream 7 with Matthew Lillard and Mr. Scott Foley, both killers in the original films. One the first movie, one the third movie. I don't know how they're doing it, but why not?
Yeah. Are we using AI? Are like the actors coming back? They're using AI to de-age them, and they're showing like extra coverage of like bridging the stories together somehow. Were there other elements in play behind the scene? We're gonna do a fucking Saw 14, and we're gonna show how everything linked together this whole time, kind of thing. I don't know.
I hope
but then
not,
sometimes you can be clever with like I'd mentioned to you previously. Val's been watching all the way through all of ER, and in the last season they're bringing a lot of cast members back who've either died or moved to other places or whatever, and they do these time jumps that I didn't think would make sense. I'm like, okay, I see how we're bringing him back in these specific ways. A couple of them clever, several of them really cheesy. So you got two chances right here, I guess. Which
The interesting thing with this, in the previous two Scream movies, they did have the other original killer who also died back as like a ghost because he was one of the main character's fathers in this film and in this movie. But that character is not going to be in this upcoming Scream film. So it's like, okay, all right.
I mean, at this point, you can kind of do whatever you want, right? Like there's 7.
I guess so.
Or there will be 7. So
yeah,
interesting. Okay, time will tell.
Things fresh and old school, I guess. And speaking of old school, a couple of episodes we were talking about Robert Eggers doing a Labyrinth sequel, and that was in talks and rumored. But now the rumor is he's signed the deal to write and direct the Labyrinth sequel over at TriStar. So
nice. Okay.
Not a lot of information about what that story will be. I mean, Bowie's not around anymore to do it. We're going to bring someone else in. We're going to have the original actress back. Who was the actress? I'm blanking.
It's a good question. I feel like at this point, it's one of those you could easily have real time pass or some accelerated volume of time. And that would be what makes up for why characters have aged, why whatever's gone on at that point. But that's a good. Jennifer Connelly. Jennifer Connelly.
Yep.
Obviously, she's just killed it with Substance. So that would be a reasonable person to try to bring back into the series. But no, like you said, it's who knows with where they're going to pick up. I trying to make it pick up exactly where the last one ended. I don't know if that would be the best move, especially when
that was to me more in the Substance, by the way. Sorry, I was like, what? They do look similar.
Shit! Oh my god, you're right.
You're good.
Wow. Oh, thank you. No, thank you for the correction. that would have sucked to get that wrong. Oh man, no, that's
no. I see where it came from because I'm like, maybe it was her.
No,
but no, I mean, fantastic actress. She could easily come back in, fill that void. Maybe I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. It's been so long, I forget the full premise of Labyrinth. I think Bowie stole a human baby, brought him back to like a goblin world. It's all these dark Henson puppets. I gotta go back and rewatch that.
Well, there we go. There's a reason right there. Let's get a refresher before the new one rolls out to us.
But that's not the only story we have involving Nosferatu's filmmaker, Mr. Robert Eggers. He is also doing another follow-up movie based in the gothic horror space, a movie called Werewolf. So not a lot is known, but hopefully it's better than the Wolfman movie I reviewed on 206, because that movie was something bad.
Yeah, right. Well, that's what's funny. It's like, how many Wolfman or werewolf movies have we had in the last couple decades? It seems to be something I feel like hasn't been nailed down very well in a while. I don't know. What's the last popular one was probably like a fucking Twilight movie at this point. So
true. I remember I was excited for the Frank Grillo movie that came out a few months ago about werewolves, but it was a terrible movie. You know what one I liked? Was it Werewolves? The Nazi werewolves? Was that the one with Wyatt Russell a couple of years ago? Produced by what's his face?
Wait, are you thinking of The J.J. Abrams
Yeah.
one. That was a little bit older than that, but I don't think they're werewolves. If I remember correctly, they're more like for lack of a better term, Captain America zombies. They're like super soldier beast monster things.
Yeah.
Maybe there was some werewolf like stuff to it, but I
don't know.
The final battle was pretty gnarly. I do.
Yeah, that was a fun one. I gotta rewatch that one again. I love how this is all just I gotta rewatch because why not?
Well,
but I don't know. I mean, this guy knows horror, so hopefully he could get us to a place with a good werewolf film. And interestingly enough, he went out and did an interview and said he's never planning on making a modern day film. He likes to stay back in these period piece films that doesn't have all these like cell phones and modern technology. And I guess why do it? You're thriving without all that in your slate of films.
To be honest, it's just as we've seen, it's easier to eliminate a lot of that means of communication to drive forward a more gripping story. Your protagonists, your characters are still wondering along with the audience what's going on. I totally get it. That's totally reasonable call there.
So good on him, man.
Yeah.
Speaking of modern things, there's a boy band that's not so modern, the Jonas Brothers. They have announced that they are doing a Disney Plus Christmas movie that's currently titled Jonas Brothers Christmas Movie. I know. What's it about? You know, they're on a 6-month tour. It's Halloween. Christmas time. They're in London. They got to get home to New York to celebrate the holiday with their family. But of course, mishaps happen. They're stuck in Europe. They got to find a way back home. Oh, boy.
Oh, all right.
Way to stay modern, Disney.
Here I am holding my breath. At least it's not another Santa Claus like Tim Allen Santa Claus. I like
Tim Allen Santa Claus, man. I watched
the original one,
2 seasons. Oh. Yeah, I didn't care for the Escape Clause or whatever the last one was. Second one,
when you get to Martin Short, I just no.
Yeah, it was a bit of a misstep.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll see if we don't get a reverse shot of them running through an airport frantically toward their gate. Then fuck the whole thing. I don't want any part of it.
Yeah. So hopefully Christmas 2025, we'll be seeing this. Maybe we'll review it on the show.
There we go.
Because you know us, we love the Jonas Brothers.
Unfortunately, I'll probably have to watch it purely for that fact alone. So, well, looking forward to that.
Well, speaking of looking forward to something, Dennis, here's something that I think we both can get behind. There's talks that Ryan Reynolds is going to be starring in Sean Levy's upcoming Star Wars film.
Awesome.
But, of course, there's been how many countless Star Wars films announced that never actually make it? But I feel like with this star power and a director who's off $1 billion movie, chances are pretty high.
Yes, exactly. And after seeing a couple of the other projects sort of resurface that we're going back around again for Rogue Squadron, maybe it's not so unreasonable now. I think Disney kind of heard what everybody was saying, and let's spread the films out a little more and take a little more time on them instead of. It doesn't need to be a Marvel fucking every other year or every year for that matter. It's okay. Space it out. You've given us enough streaming content. The audience for that is going to go there and get it at this point. So
it's funny.
Give us a movie.
On the last episode, I mentioned that we started watching Andor, and Sarah was like asking where it falls, like asking different timeline questions of, this person's movie and this. And I was explaining it all. I'm like, yeah. She's like, how do you, it's confusing. How do you keep all that figured out? I'm like, that's basic common information. And then I'm like, I guess if you don't know Star Wars, that is kind of
I feel like you don't realize when they're giving you the cues of what they're what timeline they're referencing. You just like, oh, okay, all right, totally. There's Emperor for sure. We are full on Imperial or full on Empire. If you see a certain character show up, it's no, we're end of the Clone Wars. We're about to be the Empire.
And like I had to explain like the difference between the Emperor and Darth Vader, and then Darth Vader killing the Emperor, but yet the Emperor kind of kills Darth Vader, and it happened. And I'm like, it's
right. But then the Emperor comes back.
Yeah, he's kind of a clone, and Daisy Ridley's character is somehow a clone of him, or a DNA
the daughter
of him.
Of his clone. Yeah.
It's sloppy.
What's funny is reading the novels I was reading. I like how they accomplished it there, but when you have 3 fucking books to set up how that works, it makes a lot more sense.
So here's my pitch. Sure, we've seen the senator or whatnot, the dude who was fucking Palpatine, become the Emperor. But what if Gosling is the young hot Emperor before he's the old wrinkly fuck?
When he's back on Naboo, and he's still
maybe he's learning from Darth Plagueis.
Yes. Now that's what I was hoping. That's what I was hoping it would get to, anyways. And I feel like I remember reading somewhere that that's something Disney said. Oh, because Acolyte ended the way it did. Well, maybe that's not the end of seeing Plagueis. He's still going to come back. We still need to have that story play out.
That those characters from the Acolyte are still living on in like the comic books and whatnot, and in novels.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So
nice.
That wasn't a whole waste for him, at least.
Good.
And I honestly like the Acolyte, and I feel like I'm a small minority.
The hate it got was way too extreme for what I saw there. I still wanted to see another episode. I don't.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's just. Ugh.
But my issue with this with the Sean Levy one. He's a fine director, but I don't think he's Star Wars quality. His films are kind of like Poppy and Night at the Museum, Free Guy, Real Stale. They're kind of like flashy.
Well, that's where I'm curious, because isn't this isn't the Rey film. This is like the new trilogy. This would be a whole new chapter that just simply takes place in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, this is a standalone thing. Yeah,
exactly.
Outside of
maybe that's where I personally could be okay with that tone if we're not focusing on our like ragtag team of heroes, or it's a clandestine mission to steal the plans of a super weapon, what have you. I mean, at this point, it would be. I would like to see what if our guy here is like a professional pod racer who's traveling from planet to planet, and he's running through the pod racing circuit, and even though it kind of breaks the whole
or what if
the
it's
only human,
what if it's like Drive but with pod racing?
Yeah, that would be sick. Or there you go, like a crime film, like just pure underground.
Yeah,
maybe it's all Black Sun. It's all working beneath.
They set them up.
That's where you can bring Maul back, and we could see him again. That would be badass.
Dope.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh fuck yeah.
Oh,
the dark underbelly.
I mean, there was going to be a whole series about that, and one of my teachers at Columbia was like a writer on it, and I'm like, fuck. He would tell us about it in class, and it sounded so badass. And of course, some reason they decided that was never happening. And I'm like, you got Disney Plus, revive that shit.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it sounds like some of these older ideas that they were thrown around, maybe some of them are still, they're not off the board, True. They haven't totally killed the idea. So
yeah,
here's hoping we get some of that stuff. There's more novel concepts.
Yeah. But Dennis, if you want a more different type of novel concept, let me tell you about this new Jake Gyllenhaal movie. All right. He's starring in an M. Night Shyamalan movie that's being written by Shyamalan and the romance novelist Nicholas Sparks. And this is going to be all right, get ready for it, Dennis.
Oh my God.
It's going to be a mind bender, a supernatural romantic thriller, because those are things that people want.
Oh, okay. All those times I've fallen in love with a ghost at the house I just moved into, I'll finally feel a connection to the screen, because that otherworldly presence that I felt in my apartment will now feel legitimized on screen. Mm-hmm. Thank you, M. Night Shyamalan and Nicholas Sparks.
Yeah, it could be like The Notebook.
Oh my God!
But with the fucking twists and turns of M. Night.
What's the one? Fuck. The Sandra Bullock one with or is it Sandra Bullock? No, it's not Sandra Bullock. The mailbox
Yeah, that's Sandra Bullock. Yeah, her
It
and
is?
Keanu Reeves, right?
Yeah.
The Lake
Oh, okay.
House, I think.
Is that what it is? Okay.
I think so. The time traveling mailbox shit.
There you go. Yeah.
Never saw it, but yeah.
I'm vaguely familiar with it. That's as far as what I just said is all I know about it. So
yeah, I want to know how M. Night Shyamalan and Nicholas Sparks are like, hey, let's work together. Like,
what was that media? How
Yeah.
you know who I really like to work with?
And then
You!
Jake Gyllenhaal in the mix, because why not? He's a good guy. He did that Roadhouse movie.
Let's be honest. Okay, Nicholas Sparks, Jake Gyllenhaal's popping his shirt off at some point. M. Night Shyamalan, he's talking to a ghost that he fell in love with. I don't know. And then maybe there's a demon that the ghost he's in love with helps fight off, and then the ghost spirit he falls in love with disappears, is sacrificed to keep to exercise the demon. There you go. I just read the movie.
Oh, man, that's probably a little more work than Shyamalan put in, but I'm hoping maybe Sparks is like, nah, Shyamalan, we're going all the way. We're not half-assing this.
Ghost love scene.
I'd watch that. Ooh, it could be like MacGruber having sex with his dead wife.
Immediately what came to mind for me was Ghostbusters. He wakes up from the dream. Or did he wake up? I don't know. However you interpret that scene. Ghost is going down on a buster, that's for sure.
Hells yeah. All right, Dennis, I got one more story here that's not our typical type of story, but one that I'm excited for if it happens. Okay. There's a senator in Connecticut who is trying to get a bill passed in at least Connecticut that forces theaters to put the actual showtime of the film or let us know how long the trailers and all that shit's going to be, and then what time the actual film's coming on, because he feels like it's an abuse of people's time by making them waste 15 to a half an hour that they were promised the movie.
That's not unreasonable. I have heard of this. I did read about the story myself too. I don't think that's such a bad thing. I think it's what you said in the first case. Say how many minutes worth of previews there are. Say like the showing starts at this time, it will be 27 minutes of this.
Yep.
And then it's up to you to do a little bit of math, but I think
I was at an AMC the other day, and they had a sign saying, "Hey, man, Brutalist has a 15-minute intermission, and it comes out about this point in the movie, this amount of time." And it's like, okay, so you can do that.
I'm just trying to imagine a sign in AMC. Hey, man, so.
Well, I mean, it wasn't really like that.
Yeah, no, but I love it. I wish that's what I would love to see that printed out on like a.
It's like a big banner.
So hey,
man. It's like tiny font because of so many words. It's a jumble. But I mean, like that would make my life so much better.
Yeah,
I would drive the 2 states away to Connecticut just for that, because I even go. I go to the same couple of movie theaters, AMC's, and I still can't figure out the time that it takes, because I like to get in right as Nicole Kidman's wrapping up her bullshit. And I literally, if I hear her talking, walking in, I'm like, yes, fucking did it again.
If it's the same chain, look up the movie times in Connecticut, see what they list them as, and then go to the AMC that's closer to you, and then you know how long. Because that's funny. You only need one state to do it. Then everyone just starts looking up, okay, what are they listing as? How long the thing is? And as long as it's in the same chain, you're going to roughly get the same stuff.
But that's the thing that I'm saying here. I've gone to AMC's and I've been like, all right, 20 minutes, time to go in. Oh, there's still trailers. Or 20 minutes, I'm going in. Oh, shit, the movie's already started. It's like no rhyme or reason, it feels like. I've noticed if it's like an independent movie, less trailers. If it's like an anime, less trailers. Like, I don't get it. Big movie, it's a mess.
Right. Huh.
I don't know.
No, I don't think that's unreasonable. Stupid, that's not a bad thing. Why not? Yeah. What's it really going to hurt? Because at the end of the day, I feel like there's the people who still want to see the trailers. Unfortunately, I think that's the abuse to me as a person who enjoys watching movie trailers.
Sure.
I don't want to watch 10 actual minutes of commercials that are unrelated to the fucking movie I'm watching. That's where it's
funny.
I agree with that. I get annoyed by that stuff.
I remember back in the day, there wasn't commercials in America, But I went to I was in Ireland, and I went to see Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone when it came out, because I'm the type of person that's like, I'm on vacation, but I still want to see a movie. And they had commercials. I'm like, this is fucking cool, man. Why don't they? And now if there's commercials, I'm like, fuck this. What the fuck? I don't need this shit. I don't.
It's
buy
probably a little
this.
more novel when you're in another country too.
Yeah,
I have to imagine.
I guess,
because at least it's ads you're probably never going to see again. You know.
Sure, true, yeah. Ah, boy, but
Nice.
that's all I got here for the news.
Well, all right, it's time to.
Oh, you bet it is.
Yeah, you ready for it?
Let's do it. All right, Dennis. Up first, you reviewed a movie. Uh-oh, I hit a wrong button for a second. I almost ended the stream. Sorry, folks.
Oh, there we go.
I got a little stream deck thing, and still some learning curves. Anywho, on episode 206, Dennis reviewed a movie called Mother's Instinct, and it stars Jessica Chastain. So I wanted to know what the Toasty's favorite Jessica Chastain film was out of The Help, Zero Dark 30, Interstellar, and Molly's Game.
For me, probably Molly's Game. I kind of like that sort of the crime aspect to it. That just that raised stakes of, and just that volume of money that was moving through those rooms. That was
right.
Cool. Nothing against the other ones. I actually I do dig the rest. But yeah, that'd be my choice. What about you?
You know, Molly's Game, I might lean towards, because I like that whole underground poker scene thing.
Yeah.
Something I really dug Zero Dark 30, and I'm not a giant
interesting
military war type person,
yeah.
But something about that film resonated with me.
It's fucking excellent. So I don't blame you. And it's gripping. It's one of those you feel it in your chest when you're watching it, because it was the
intense.
Tone and the rhythm of it. It knows where to live, and it did such a good job of accomplishing that goal. So yeah, I don't blame you.
Right,
man. Nice, good choice though.
All right. But let's find out what the Toasties had to say. Yeah. 0% for The Help.
I'm surprised.
Right? Yeah. Everyone loves The Help. I haven't seen it, and I love it.
Oh, it's a good one. Yeah. I think you dig it.
I like the cast.
Yeah. Oh, that's really why. That's why I checked in. But yeah, that's a solid flick. I'm genuinely surprised.
Right? All right. Up next, 0% for Zero Dark 30. I guess that is on par with the word zero. Yeah. Also odd. All right. Up next, 0% for Molly's Game, leaving 100% for Interstellar.
Well, all right.
Yeah.
Sorry, Toasties. Didn't mean to.
Yeah, sorry. We suck at guessing.
Yeah, that's
or having our opinions.
Yeah, exactly. That's surprising. I mean, yes and no, I guess. That's one of those titles that it gets the accolades it does. So
I know it was recently re-released in IMAX, and I was flirting with the idea of going to see it because I'd never seen it before. And I'm like, best way to see it on the big screen in IMAX. But it was like playing at ridiculous hours, and I'm like, I can't dedicate 2 or 3 hours,
2.5 hours
at this late in the night. Yeah. But yeah, now I'm flirting with the idea of doing that for they're re-releasing Parasite. I'm like, I love Parasite.
Ooh, but see that on the big screen though, that would be cool.
Like
I never got to watch it.
Biggest screen. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, at IMAX. Oh shit, no, that would be, and it would look gorgeous. Oh man, no, I don't. That's funny. I don't blame you there. I
own it on Blu-ray, but it's like it's not the same.
Nothing like leaning back in that chair and seeing
with the sound,
the sheer
and
volume.
Yeah.
Oh God, yes. I don't know.
You don't get it.
I'd go with you if I could.
Yeah. All right. Up next, I reviewed the latest Cameron Diaz film, Back in Action, on episode 206. So I wanted to know what the Toasties' favorite Cameron Diaz film was out of The Mask, There's Something About Mary, Shrek, and Charlie's Angels.
Dang.
I don't think I have to tell you which one I'm voting for.
There's Something About
Charlie's
Mary.
Angels. How many hair? That was great. Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, Racing with Shia LaBeouf, All right. Oh,
There you
wait,
go.
wrong one. Son of the Mask, starring Jamie.
Oh God.
Fucking what's his face?
I will say for me as a young man, The Mask was an incredible introduction to Cameron Diaz. That
her first feature film.
Yeah, that fantastic. But I will have to say there's something about Mary, because it's hilarious. I still find it entertaining, and her character is wonderful. It's everybody plays their parts so well in that movie. That would be my choice.
Yeah. I don't think I gotta tell you that my little Shrek guy. It's Shrek all day, baby.
That's not Princess Fiona.
Oh, sorry. It's Shrek. It kind of looks like the Fry girl from McDonald's.
That's funny.
Or not the Fry.
Oh yeah.
The green screen fucks up it.
Right.
Sorry, folks. I have these Shrek figures on my table here.
Of course. It's like I know you get a within arm's reach.
Oh man. All right. So let's find out what the Toasties had to say about this one.
What's up?
0% for There's Something About Mary. I don't get it.
I don't
People
either.
don't like comedy, apparently. No, that's 0% for Charlie's Angels.
Oh.
A fantastic action comedy. Well, but it's leaning towards a little movie I like called The Mask.
Oh.
Yes, 50%.
Wow. Okay.
All right.
A classic, though.
It is. It really is. Oh, man. And then 50% for my boy Shrek.
There you go. Look at you. I mean, sharing the top of the hill there.
2 green guys.
That's true.
One
very true.
Leading lady with the voice of an
Is
ogre
that the key
in
to
the body
get,
of an angel.
Cameron Diaz in your movie is your protagonist needs to be green fleshed at some point.
Yeah, I think they were talking about having Back in Action take place at the Kids' Choice Awards, and Jamie Foxx was going to get slimed, but something happened. They just cut that scene, I think.
They're just running across the stage as they're getting chased, or chasing somebody.
Yeah. There's some spy shit happening, but like there's slime
for some reason. Yeah,
their kids are big fans of Nickelodeon, even though they're in fucking England. Most of the sequels, it could happen.
Kel Mitchell's for some reason in
the drinking orange soda.
Yeah. Oh God. Man. Well, interesting result there. That's not.
Yeah.
Again, I'm surprised, Toasties. That's why we like your input there. I love seeing what's striking your fancy.
What's going down in your heads. Yeah. And if you want to take part in that, you can vote on these polls yourself by following us at movie_toast on Twitter. I was going to say other names, but it's only Twitter.
Twitter works, yeah.
And it's not even Twitter, folks. It's called X. But I'm an old fuck who lives in the past. Every Saturday, there's a poll, multiple polls. Every movie we review, I do a poll. And then I take the best responses and put the top 2 on this podcast. I don't know why I'm telling you. If you're listening or watching, hopefully you know that. No,
it's been a while. You haven't broken down in a minute, so that's good.
True,
good call.
True.
Good call.
Yeah. But the main reason most people are probably here is for a little thing we like to call reviews.
Yes, sir.
Ice camera action, it's review time. Dennis and Adam, we gon' blow your mind. We're stepping up to the plate, ready to swing. Analyzing movies like a scientist with bling.
Show off that bling, Adam.
All right, well, I'm not gonna lie, Dennis. You're the first bling master here with your first flick.
Awesome. I am excited about this one. It was one of those kind of just knee-jerk, like if you follow the show, I do enjoy a good World War II flick when they come up. And I've been surprised in recent years at some of the stories that have been told. This one, particularly interesting. Number 24. This is about a Norwegian man who lived through the Nazi occupation of Norway and just had enough. Like it's the boot on the back was just way too much after seeing, friends and family members get taken away, ideals change, and then seeing, your own brothers, like your other compatriots starting to call each other out, accuse each other of things. It was becoming horrible. Our main character, who's was based out of Oslo, he moves to this the big city by comparison to the small village he grew up in, and the business he was working for starts to get taken over by the Nazi occupation, and he starts to join the other underground movement. So this movie is covering the story of he's literally the most decorated resistance fighter in Norway's history, a man named Gunnar Stonsby, that he's really existed. So the major details of this are actually true, but they tell the story in a really cool way where I want to say it's like maybe the late 80s, early 90s or something, where you have it's him as a older gentleman giving a talk at a school, or giving a talk to a group of students about what he went through, and he had written a book, and he's getting asked questions by the students, and that's how we are progressing through his experiences during World War II. And it's got action, intrigue. It's definitely have those thriller elements. I honestly had a great time watching it, and I started to watch it with the dub on, and it was a little weird, so I switched it.
They don't hit right.
Yeah, I like seeing
it takes me out
actors.
Of it if it's bad dub.
Exactly. And what's funny is there's several scenes, like when he starts talking to the British military, they're speaking English, and so it's switching between English, German, and Norwegian throughout the film. So I liked hearing it all in the native language. If you can tolerate it, much prefer that. But man, it was shot beautifully. So many things were on location. It didn't feel like we had a whole lot of sets built. I know there were, but from the peaks of the mountains when they're skiing out in the wilderness, and a lot of the forest scenes, to just the small the city streets and everything, it just felt so European. I don't know how else to put it. Like there's a couple of apartment buildings they're running up and down. It reminded me of watching Madame Grenier, like when they're going up and down those wide set stairs where it's always like the alternating doors off of each side of the landings. It just felt so genuine, and the performances were fantastic. I thought the writing was great. I can't speak, obviously not speaking Norwegian. I can't speak for like how well they were giving, their performances and stuff in that regard. But to me, it sounded genuine. It felt very real. I had a great time watching it. Number 24, I'm going to give 3.5 slices. It's not like you can call it. It's not like a frontline combat sort of World War II movie. It's way more on the intrigue side. It's the espionage, and it's the gravity of just like what the common man stepping up against a larger oppressing force. When you're slowly seeing, it's that old phrase of you throw the frog in the pot and you slowly turn the water up to boil it. That's how you make that change, exactly. Well, like that's how you change people. That's where you don't notice until it's too late when it's all gone wrong. And this is someone who went out of their way to make a difference as he saw it for his country. So I feel like it's kind of timely. Especially depending on your perspective of things, this might sound a little too eerily familiar, but it's a great film. Would highly recommend it if you're interested in the subject matter at all.
Fantastic.
Oh, and you can watch it on Netflix. As it is available on Netflix now. Yeah.
Nice. So you have no excuse to not check it out.
That's right.
Everyone's got Netflix, and that's when people are like, no, we don't. That's an old
cancel that shit. Long time ago.
Nobody likes that stuff. All right, I got a movie currently in theaters. The latest Mel Gibson directed film, Flight Risk. All right, so this movie, simple premise. You have a U.S. Marshal who is taking a government witness from a small Alaskan town to the big city to testify. But, of course, there's no major airport in this Alaskan village, so they have to charter a small plane to get to a bigger airport. And everything's going swimmingly until we find out, the pilot isn't who he says he is. It turns out it's an assassin who wants to kill the witness. All right. Who's it star, you're asking? You got Mark Wahlberg as the assassin. As the U.S. Marshal, we have Michelle Dockery. I don't really know her, but she was fantastic. And then as the witness, you have someone who I have a weird love-hate relationship with, Topher Grace. Now, this movie, I honestly had mixed feelings going in. I'm like, it's probably going to be slocky and dumb. And yes, there is slock here. But what it does is it's a fine little intense little kind of pressure cooker, because one thing leads to another. Mark Wahlberg isn't flying the plane anymore, so the marshal has to fly the plane. She doesn't know how to fly the plane. They're running out of gas. They don't know where they are. There is a air traffic control person on the other end kind of guiding her. She's trying to figure out how they found out that she was transporting this guy. It's pretty good. The story is fun. The acting is great. Mark Wahlberg, it's being sold as a vehicle for him, and he's not the best part of this movie. I feel like the chemistry between Michelle Dockery and Topher Grace is what really sells this movie. They have this perfect banter. Topher Grace really steals the show. He has these quippy one-liners. Fantastic. But the air traffic controller is this funny guy. He's kind of flirting with our agent, and he's just kind of de-escalating things a bit. And there's tension. It's moving up. It's action-packed. It's a fun time at the movies. It's not a perfect film, but if you're looking for something that is funny, action-packed, you should check out Flight Risk. I'm going to give this 2 slices of toast.
All right. So I'm curious, what percentage of the film, for something that's been marketed as being on a plane the whole time, how much of it is actually on the plane?
I'm going to say 80%.
You give it a percentage. 80. Okay. Good.
So essentially, in the beginning, they track him down and get Topher Grace, and then if the plane lands, maybe there's some stuff on the ground. I don't know.
Okay.
Just saying.
All right. Yeah. All right. Good.
But,
I'm glad. Yeah. That number is honestly higher than I would have guessed, and I'm glad that's the case. I'm tired of these, like, when movies pitch themselves like they're one thing, and then I'm like, okay, we spent 5 fucking minutes in this.
Yep. And the thing is, it's such a tight little plane, but they find interesting angles and they switch it up, and it's not just like a wide shot the whole time. Like they really use the space well. And I feel
that'd be an
like
interesting set to build, like an exploded plane, so you can pull panels out and get the whole camera, get all the dolly and everything up to where you need it to be. That's cool. Nice.
Yeah. So I think you're gonna bring us into something that's a little more sinister, Dennis.
Oh, that I am. This is a flick that finally landed on Hulu not too long ago. If you're looking for something in the sci-fi sort of fashion, called Arcadian. So this is one that's, I have a feeling, much like our previous review, is pitched as a Nicolas Cage led post-apocalyptic film. He's hard to laugh, as if you know, Adam's already covered this.
That got me in the theater, Dennis.
Yeah, why not? Especially post-apocalyptic Nicolas Cage. I'm like, there, done. And then you find out about the rest of the cast, because I really liked Lords of Metal. So Jaden Martell, I thought he killed it.
Talented young man.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I will say Maxwell Jenkins, I thought, did a good job in this movie as well. But this is telling the story of Nicolas Cage's character, who he's living out in the countryside. Clearly it's Europe or England, but we're not going to say that for some reason. I don't really get that whole thing.
Yeah.
He's raised 2 sons on his own. From babies up until they're 15 years old, it seems 15, 16 years old. And some event has occurred. It was horrific. It's reshaped the planet. Clearly, a lot of people are gone, but every night they need to hide behind closed doors. And as it seems, some creatures become aware of their location and will try to find their way in. And then over the course of years, they've learned how to kind of keep them at bay. But the movie kind of did an interesting job of like teasing what was going on while developing the relationships My issue with that was it took so fucking long for them to finally tell us what the risk was. Like, it was like, okay, you don't want to be out at night. Sure. Okay. You gonna tell us why we can't be out at night? No, we're gonna wait half a fucking hour before we finally get to that point. And we see, like, we do, it's the classic original Alien take on it, and we're just gonna see pieces of it, and like, okay, that's nice. I like
Which
that.
is fine way to build up tension and
exactly. And you start to learn more things about, like, with the surrounding area and the relationships between the different farms close by. But then I just like, well, that's kind of dumb. Why are we risking our lives for? There's certain events that occur throughout the film.
We're doing it for a girl, Dennis. It's all about the girls.
Oh my god, yeah, and it's just like
this
some... is not even. That doesn't even happen. We're just like,
gotta get some medication,
some smooches. Get a couple kisses. That's where
don't fall down any dark holes.
Well, apparently, and even then, everyone seems to know exactly where this crevasse is, and we like whenever anything goes wrong, we know exactly to go here because this is where it probably happened. And okay, there's issues with the film for sure. I will say though, I did like certain aspects about the way the world functioned.
Sure.
I liked the creature itself, especially towards the end when we're in those final battle moments. It had some funky qualities. To me, it almost feels like they were trying to write a video game first, and then let's just turn it into a movie script instead, because there are certain aspects as to how we interacted with the beasts, whatever they are, which we never, by the way, spoiler alert, we never resolve what happened. You never find out. You just have these things. As a little spoiler of something that actually depicts, like, the snapping mouth thing, I did like that creepy, just unsettling sound they'd make in that motion. There's things about the monster I liked, and
yeah,
but it kind of feels like a low rent The Last of Us, or
I kind of put it on like a mixture of A Quiet Place meets Bird Box.
Val said the same thing. She said Quiet Place first as well. I totally see that too, and it is very much like that, but instead of sound, it's the sun. But yeah, man, it's like you had some interesting aspects, but then they would like highlight certain things, never address them again. They would give characters certain traits, and they never paid off. So it's like it's one of those. It looks like the whole world was created first, and then we tried to figure out what story to tell within that world. And I think we got lost in all the details, and then lack of details too, for that matter. So I like stuff about it, but I felt kind of unfulfilled by the end. I'm just glad the dog made it. Okay, I'm gonna.
Yeah. That
pissed me off. I was like, "Don't you? You better not." But
now, I love some great action in it, but I feel like the design of the creatures a little laughable. But when they like form that mecha fucking circular tire type rotation, I laughed. I was like, what the fuck is this?
See, movie? That's when, to me, it was like, okay, this is a video game. Like it's either, because I mean, it's crazy. This is the director that made Everything Everywhere All at Once. So we're not afraid to push boundaries on how we're going to tell the story, much less the journey our characters going on. We didn't get to do a lot of that till like the very end. And that's where I feel like what you're describing, it seems way more shocking, because you tried to keep it so realistic and grounded for so long before finally letting some crazy shit happen. I don't know. It was like too bottled up before finally just giving us a whole bunch at once. And then it was over as soon as we got to the thick of the business there. I mean, Nicolas Cage is Cajun. We get with the cast, I think, is doing decent for what they have. I'm just not a big fan of the plot, how like the decisions characters are making and stuff. Kind of classic excuse, I feel like, in this sort of genre, especially when you get to these high concept things. It just seems to be how it resolves. I did like the sets though. The interior of their house, I thought that looked cool, very lived in,
it had
and like
that nice lived in vibe.
Even their like the gator thing they're driving around, like they did all sorts of stuff to try to make it look
a lot of time on that.
And right. And I'm like it didn't really pay off for anything either, other than like one little thing at the end, but which wasn't. I don't know. I think there's other people who will like this a lot more. I didn't hate it, but I also, it wasn't like the best thing ever.
Everyone's entitled.
I'm a big fan. I
but...
really enjoy the post-apocalyptic genre.
Sure.
I like the angle they took, like the slice in the time period they decided to show us in this world. That's probably about it. I think I'll give Arcadian 2 slices of toast.
Now, just clarification, not the directors of Everywhere Everything at Once.
Oh.
The visual designer of it.
Yes.
I was like, oh, those guys did this? What a weird departure.
No.
I was like,
my
holy
mistake.
shit. No, you're good. Oh God. Boy, I have a new animated film here called Dog Man. I didn't know much about this one. I knew that it was kind of a spin-off of Captain Underpants.
Same author.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's essentially like a kid's version of RoboCop. There starts off with a cop and a cop dog. They're on pursuit of this elusive villain named Petey the cat. And Petey ends up blowing up a building they're on. The hospital can't save both of them, but the body of the cop is good and the head of the dog is good. And they Frankenstein that shit together, baby. Creating Dog Man, not Dog Cop, like I want to say. But stuff gets complicated because the cop's girlfriend leaves him for another guy and another dog. They're kind of lonely. The mayor doesn't want them working anymore.
Get out of here, you freak.
And Dogman, he functions as a dog. He has the skills of a cop, but it's a little mismatched in my opinion. Just like the story, the plot is kind of hard to follow. Essentially, Petey the cat, they're after the whole movie. They put him in jail. He escapes out of jail. The mayor's mad about this. They want the chief to fire him. The chief doesn't want to fire him. Mm-hmm. Then there's something about bringing back the chief's evil goldfish. And then Petey the cat clones himself and creates little Petey, who's this adorable cat who doesn't want to be like his dad and actually befriends and becomes kind of a quasi child to Dogman because Petey the cat wants to get rid of him. And then once Petey the cat sees little Petey with Dogman, he gets jealous. And I don't know, this story is so convoluted. It makes no sense. But I'm not a kid. This is made for kids.
Yeah.
I will say what's good about this movie, the animation style, it feels like a scrappy comic book come to life. It has a great cast. As Petey the cat, you get Pete Davidson killing it.
Nice.
Rel Howery as the chief. Isla Fisher is this news reporter that comes and goes. Ricky Gervais plays Flippy the fish. Billy Boyd is in here. Stephen Root, Sherry O'Terry. It has a pretty fun cast.
Nice.
It has a fun soundtrack. The action's fun. There are sight gags all over the place. There's puns. It's a fun and funny movie. I laughed. I just felt like this plot was all over the place and there kind of was no plot. But
interesting.
Hey, I don't know. Sometimes kids' movies connect with me. Other times they don't. This one, kind of forgettable in my book. But
okay.
I don't know. I think it's killing it at the box office. Kids are loving it. So I'm going to give Dogman 1.5 slices of toast.
Oh, okay.
Not bad, not good, just not for me.
It's interesting what you said about the story, though. Because a coworker of mine, his sons love the Dogman books, and they they showed a couple of them to me a few times, and it's first off really brutal setup for a fucking kids book, right?
Yeah,
like, that's really gnarly, and I kind of love that they're not afraid to take it like that dark as the setup for the storyline. But it sounds like they combined a bunch of the books into one movie. They've told me about some of those different plot points, and I think like that blast past the first one, it sounds like.
And that's probably what the issue is. I think they're throwing too much pasta at the wall here.
Yeah.
And there's even moments where the chief is like, I remember when you did this, remember when you did that. And I'm like, I bet these are all stories from the book that they're like, hey,
All
we're
callbacks.
mentioning this for the fans.
Yeah.
And I feel like this would have worked better as a cartoon series. And maybe it might spin off to become one.
Could see that. Paramount Plus.
I feel like just give it its time. Give it one story. Let us get to know the characters. Don't just shove everything down our throats. But I mean, if you're a kid, they have a attention span that's not very long. So if you give them something different, it might keep them paying attention more, perhaps. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, fair enough. Interesting, though. I'm glad to see they took a risk on telling that story, though. I remember after hearing what the plot of it was, I'm like, okay, that sounds kind of awesome. So that's right. I'm glad at least they went for it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He looks cool. He's adorable. And little Petey, this cat, fucking cute as can be, and just so fun. And I loved it. And that's the thing. There's so many redeeming qualities. You know what? Slash it. I'm giving it 2 slices of toast, not 1.5.
Okay.
Yeah. Give it a little more respect. Sorry about that, folks. But I'm intrigued to hear your review for a movie that I did enjoy, and I'm hoping you might have enjoyed as well, Dennis. A little movie called Alien Romulus.
That is absolutely right, Adam. This is the Alien film that came out just this last year. I want to say last spring. Finally landing over on Hulu and Disney Plus, which is available on the streaming services right now. So I was finally able to jump in and enjoy this badass chapter of the Alien universe. So this is telling the story of just a group of scrappy, young, you can't even really say kids. I don't know. They're just maybe young 20-somethings or, older teenagers just trying to scrape by on this mining planet. They've all struggled in their own means, and they've had enough of this shit. We're getting off this rock, and we're going to another planet. We're going to another place where at least we have a chance of living like a better life. So we are going to intercept this satellite. We're going to intercept the space station that is in satellite around the planet they're on, get the supplies they need, and then they're fucking out of here. And of course, you see what's coming with this space station that's about to fall into a ring of asteroids around the planet they're on. In this limited window, we got to get there and in and out of this place. And we of course come across the xenomorphs and a few other awesome callbacks. To be honest, I wasn't expecting to see in this film, but my God, right away, I got to say, they did such, as Adam said in his review, they did such a good job of making it feel like almost like a 1980s retro futuristic version of this time period. It felt like a movie that looked like it should have been in the same time zone. Like it looks right. It feels right. Just that texture on screen, almost like it has that film grain, from the wardrobe to the sets themselves, to the way, even like I like seeing a populated city. We don't really get to see that kind of stuff in these films. It was such a cool perspective and a great way of still making me feel like we're going back to those ones instead of trying to show me something entirely new, like a lot of like the Covenant and the prequel films we're starting to try to do with like Prometheus and things. The cast, I thought, did a fantastic job, from our malfunctioning android, who did such a great job of showing all of those different faces and all the transitions he had to go through, to the rest of our crew, that they all have their own personal motivations. And even if you see a couple of plot twists coming, the way they play out was just so gnarly. And it was a movie that wasn't afraid to be brutal. It made me feel like, I've repeated many times, it made me feel like we're going right back to the first 2 Alien films, which it turns out this is when this takes place, is during Aliens, or right after. Oh, I think you're muted there, Adam. Lost your audio there.
Oh, I was muted. Sorry, I was agreeing with you.
Oh yeah.
It takes place after Alien, in between Aliens, I believe.
That's right, because it's that 20-year hibernation Ripley is in. She's still missing at this point. They there's a couple, and I like how subtle the hints are. Like it's not trying to drive home. In fact, you probably don't really need to see a single other Alien movie. You'll be just fine jumping into this one. But at the same time, if you've seen all the other Alien movies, it's rich with all these little nods and references, but it's not like a Star Wars film where it kind of demands you need to know all the stuff. So the action's fantastic. Performances are great. I love the version of the xenomorph we get at the end. That thing was fucking cool. And then just, I like, we're not repeating combat with them the same way as we've seen many times. We know what we know what their blood does. We know what their machine guns can do. But we had these little tweaks to everything because it makes sense. We're in a different place. They have different resources. I had a great time. This was an awesome, awesome fucking movie. I don't know what would keep me from saying, you know what? Because I think Alien is just such a beautiful assembly of all of those components, and it knows how to drip feed everything to you. Romulus does a little faster, so you don't quite. Which honestly makes me want to go back and rewatch it, which I think is a great thing. But I would give Alien Romulus 3.5 slices of toast. Excellent addition to the universe. I am looking forward to Alien Earth. Hopefully, we get some more films, and I like these being more scattered around the timeline because this isn't the Skywalker universe. We're not dedicated to continuing to look at the same pockets of this world. I mean, we've still never seen other aliens. We've had conversations from characters about the exploits, especially in Aliens, the second film. We hear about the exploits of the colonial Marines and all the other places they've seen and the aliens they've had sex with at that point. There's other stuff out there. There's a whole universe to explore.
Yeah.
Given that xenomorphs, of course, are the center of it. All right, Weyland-Yutani, what else do you got?
Now, one thing that I heard just recently today in a podcast that I didn't realize, there's a familiar character who returns. I'm trying not to spoil things here, but in the theatrical version, this character was all CG, but on set they used a puppet type animatronic that looked better. And the director was so let down by the CG, went back and put the actual animatronic in the home release.
Interesting.
So it looked even better, apparently.
Oh, wow. Because I was going to say, there's weird things about his face that I thought was noticeable. But everything else about him, because it should be, it should be mechanical. Like, it should be, mechanical movement. Reasons. And it makes sense the way they're presenting it the way they do. And it's awesome. I loved that reference, and I loved that callback. Because I missed it in theaters, so I didn't get to. I didn't notice not aware of the difference. But.
And I really loved that final fight scene, the way they worked with the gravity on, gravity off type situation.
Yeah,
felt like that was kind of unique.
That was awesome. And then they didn't. I thought it was going to be a one and done gimmick, but they kept using it over and over again in different ways. I thought that was clever. They did a great job writing that one. I was in start to finish, and I didn't let off the gas. Yeah, I was definitely
I feel like
here for that.
Fede Alvarez knows how to take a classic movie that he respects and give it a reboot in the respect it deserves, opposed to other people who just come in for a paycheck.
He's paying, like you said it perfect. He's paying respect to the film that was made instead of like, oh, here's my twist on it, or I'm going to put my fucking fingerprints all over this thing because it'll have an alien in it, but it's going to be something wildly different. No, not true at all. This is a beautiful continuation of that same story that you're coming in for, but not one you've seen before. It's its own chapter that I think they did a great job, and I'm looking forward to more.
Yeah. And I hope they do more, and I hope we see some of these characters again, but time will tell, I suppose.
Yep.
I have one more film here, Dennis. I have a new movie called Companion. This movie I've been looking forward to because the trailer, at least the one trailer I saw, held back a lot, and apparently some of the later trailers spoil stuff. So luckily I didn't see that. But this movie is really fun. It is about 3 different couples going to this lakeside house that's in this abandoned area. There's no one around for miles. Things are growing great. One thing leads to another. Someone gets murdered. Secrets and lies come out. More people get murdered. People are being chased down. Twists and turns. Now, I will say there is a twist that comes very early on towards the end of the first act that there's so many little hints and Easter eggs before it happened. I'm like, oh, that happens, I bet. And it did, but it didn't affect the movie in a negative light.
Nice.
Like, it still was a fantastic film. All right, this movie has a great cast. Sophie Thatcher from Yellow Jackets is our main character, Iris, and she was also in that movie Hereditary I reviewed a few episodes ago. This actress is phenomenal, and she is nothing short of fantastic in this. As her boyfriend, you have Jack Quaid, and he's doing a slightly more edgier character than we see him in The Boys. Something feels slightly off with him, but we don't know what it is. Then we have Harvey Galen from What We Do in the Shadows, and his boyfriend is Lucas Gage. And these two have this really cute relationship. They feel like a perfect couple. And Lucas Gage is given a great performance as well. And Harvey is given a great one too. Everyone's killing it. Then we have this lady, Megan Surrey, and Rupert Friend. Rupert Friend's character is a scene stealer. He's great. The acting is top notch. The writing is fun. The visuals are just gorgeous. Like, this lake house is like not a tiny little thing, and they even call that out in the movie. It's this giant palatial estate, and the lake itself is gorgeous. The sets are fantastic. The wardrobe is like top notch. Everything about this movie is great, except for some of the writing being on the wall, like I said. But that's still cool. I was intrigued to find out this was the director's feature debut, and I'm like, what else has he done? He's done a bunch of like TV and stuff, but one thing that I was shocked by, he directed this 2-part short series that came out back when the Pick of Destiny came out for Tenacious D, called Tenacious D and Time Fixers, when they go back to stop Lincoln from being assassinated. So I'm like, oh, cool, that's kind of funny seeing him do this. And then the people who did the Rise of the Phoenix music video did Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's like all these. Sorry, I'm getting down. It doesn't matter. I'm reviewing this film here. I'm trying to dance around some things, but like I said, this movie has a lot of twists and turns, and it's something that I think should be seen with an audience on the big screen. It's also produced by Zach Krieger, the guy who did Barbarian, and it's kind of in that vein. Nice. And yeah, it's a great little film. I'm giving Companion 3 slices of toast. Had it not been as predictable, I think I could have slid it to 3.5. It didn't live up to my expectations as high as I wanted it to be, but it still was a thrill. Yeah.
Nice, man. Yeah, but that's one I'm very curious about. I'd like to check that out myself too. What's funny, definitely. You have that thumbnail up for Companion here on the stream. I saw that jawline and like the volume of stubble. I'm like, oh, that's Jack Quaid.
Yep. 100%. It's something about it. It's just spot on. You can tell.
Yeah.
And he's having a good time. Like, he has this, and then next month he has this movie Novocaine.
Yeah. I just saw on Reddit a couple of the posters were released, and it's like, I'm curious. It's giving me a Nobody sort of vibe, and I'm intrigued. He's great. So
yeah,
I'm happy to check it out.
It's good to see him flex his muscles and do different things.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Well, nice, man. Awesome.
Yeah, that's going to do it for reviews. Unless you have anything surprising that you want to drop on us.
No, nothing major. Yeah, other than I might like a couple of old TV movies. Old TV movie from the 70s, the intro to the TV series Emergency from, was that 1971 or something? I just liked, it was one of those random things.
I like how you're like, Corey, like 19 or something. You're like, you know exactly what
I think it was.
You're trying to play it cool.
It's in the same universe as Dragnet and Adam 12.
Okay.
And it is telling the story of the founding of like the first paramedics in Los Angeles, when they didn't even have anyone medically trained in fire stations. So these are going to be the first firefighters to get that sort of like training on how to use a defibrillator and things like that. And it's a show that honestly, my sister and I ended up picking up during COVID with like a lot of whatever time to burn, and MeTV had some interesting stuff. But the pilot is a TV movie that honestly, it's really good at setting everything up, because it does a little like, it's kind of all sort of told in flashback, but they don't like keep going back and forth. It's more our main two characters like, remember when we first met and how you convinced me to sign up for this thing, and then we go back at the whole setup and then jumps into the rest of the series. But that was really cool. I've never seen the pilot before. I've just scattered episodes throughout the middle, and then the last season is all TV movies. So I might come back to reviewing one of those later on down the road. But
interesting.
Yeah, it's really cool. They don't make anything like this anymore. The medical dramas and rescue shows, nothing has the scale of like setting actual buildings on fire and actually having your cast suspended from cranes and dangling off of the sides of buildings.
Good luck getting insurance on that.
Exactly. Like they do
unless you're Tom Cruise.
Really cool stuff. Yeah, right. Randolph Mantooth is no Tom Cruise, but he's still a badass. So
the name like that.
Fuck yeah, right? Like that's that alone should be enough credit there. But yeah, that's
nice.
The other thing that's been kind of stealing my attention lately.
Not bad. Well, folks, we want you to steal our attention by submitting your short film, 15 minutes or less, to our 5th annual film festival known as Movie Toast the Festival. Dennis, how can they do this?
Wander on over to filmfreeway.com/Movie Toast the Festival, and you will find a submission form where you can participate yourself. As Adam said, this is short films, 15 minutes or less. You know, every once in a while we get somebody who thinks they're, you know, gonna break the mold or
funny
something.
Guy.
It's like, and I'm sorry,
although
we just don't have the
I
time.
think we have slightly let some slightly longer ones, if they're high quality. I shouldn't be saying this. I'm an idiot. Sorry.
Well, if it's a few seconds longer, that's within reason. But it's to try to, we want to keep a tight show and try to show you a lot of variety. At the end of the day, we get films from all over the world and from every genre you could think of. So, and that's one of our favorite things about putting this up is just seeing the variety of work and the wonderful art that so many of you filmmakers that are out there have created just to share with us. So get your voice heard. It's a low cost entry film festival, and it's all streaming on YouTube. So no need to go anywhere fancy. You don't need to be there in person. You can view it from anywhere at your leisure. It'll be happening this December. So please, if you don't have a film to enter, then at least follow along. Come check us out. Join us for a couple hours. Some killer short films. We've had some great ones up till now, and I'm already looking forward to. We're already getting entries, guys. So try to get in there early and often if you're feeling lucky. We've had a lot of multiple prints in the past, and been surprised. It's been a fight. Like we've highlighted this last year. We had the hardest time trying to place which films were actually going to make the cut. It was never this there was never this much deliberation up until this last year, and
which is a good thing.
Yeah, that means there's so many good things. So please, if you got a short film or you know someone who has some awesome stuff, come check us out over on filmfreeway.com.
Yeah. And speaking of checking us out, please check us out on our social media platforms. We're talking Facebook, X, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, TikTok, YouTube, all pretty much at the title or tag username @movie_toast. There's going to be links for the show, links for video content that's different from the show, news, a bunch of different things thrown at you daily, hourly. So please follow us. We'd love to hear from you. Or we'd love to hear what you think about our show. And there's a simple way to do that, folks.
Absolutely. Just come over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a review. Just let us know how we're doing, good or bad, up and down, left, right, whatever it is. We want to know how to make the show as toasty and delicious as we possibly can for you.
That's true. But you don't want to enter your film in our festival. You don't want to follow us on the socials. You don't want to let us know how bad or good we're doing. What about doing something for yourself? Something that's free and simple.
That's right, folks. Please, please stay toasty.
Stay toasty.
I'm in Dennis, they're the kings of the real. Reviewing new movies, they keep it real. Coast to coast, from LA to the east. On the podcast show, they feast on the beast. Adam's bringing knowledge like he's Professor X. Dennis with cuts deeper than Wolverine's claws. I guess Marvel, DC, they know them all by heart. Breaking down the plot, tearing every scene apart. They got the juice like Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. Breaking down movies with a sharp precision. Adam coming in hot like a John Wick hit. Dennis bringing the heat like the climax of a Tarzan flick.
Tarzan, so climaxy. I will say your transitions there at the end, fucking on point. That was
trying
good.
To.
That was you caught your verbiage there was excellent. I just took me everything
Sometimes.
to not just jump on it like, yeah, that was awesome.
Sometimes you can get on the train, other times it's a stretch. So I'm happy
you killed it this time. That was good. That was
Thank
good.
you. Oh man.
Yeah.
I did something I never thought I'd do, something I never had interest in doing on Saturday. Sarah, me, and my pal Eddie, we went to a monster truck show. Never did that before.
To Monster Jam?
Monster Jam, yeah.
Fuck yeah. Nice, man.
I surprisingly enjoyed it.
Saw Sarah's Instagram. That looked cool. Yeah, it's like, I think it's like anything else when you're watching a professional do what they do in action. It's just a big splashy show. Like it, I like Val and I have joked around going to when they would come through LA, but that's awesome. That sounds like a great time.
Like not what I thought it was. I didn't know that there was characters and different like things they were doing, and like I thought it was a different demographic of people in the audience. Like there were babies in front of me making no noise. Like it was just a respectful crowd. It was a good time.
Nice.
I got some fried dough for $4. That never happened.
Oh, what? Oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
There you go.
Kind of tiny, but still tasty. I don't know. Yeah.
Nice. Well, that sounds like a fun time, man.
And but I thought of you. They apparently have everything. They have a monster truck, like kind of Hot Wheels style set and track. And they play the commercials. And I'm like, this looks like something Dennis might work on. Like,
oh man,
intense like sets and things. I'm like, that's pretty badass.
I never thought about that. I wonder if any of the stuff I did work on actually ended up being played on some of the screens and shit around the country. Damn. Yeah. Well, I know it's like I mean, I'm sure they had the classics, right? Like Gravedigger and what is it? Is Goldberg still one?
Not there. They didn't have everyone. I was kind of let down. Like apparently there's a zombie one and a unicorn.
Oh yeah,
didn't get that.
Oh man,
I wanted that. And I didn't realize there were so many cool merch outside. Like there were some cool cups. I'm like, that's a cool cup. And as I was leaving, I'm like, wait, they have fucking snow cones in these cups. I wish I knew that earlier. I would have got that. And they had like these cool dolls. If they weren't so expensive, I get them for my dogs and they destroy them in 10 seconds.
Right, yeah.
Oh man, so many cool things.
Nice.
I wish I jumped on that bandwagon as a kid.
I would my dad took me when I was really young up to Portland, Oregon at the Rose Quarter or whatever they call it now, I forget. And yeah, that thing was cool. There was like an intermission that was like, it was two like robots that were like 2 stories tall that had flamethrowers and shit. And they did all these crazy things like throwing sparks.
See, that's what I wanted. That's what I thought. I thought there was going to be like giant things like trucks eating cars or something. But I don't know. There are no pyrotechnics. It was a smaller stadium. I guess maybe if it was a bigger arena.
Oh, that's true. I didn't think about that. Yeah, that could be true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. The transmissions and stuff they were able to put in those trucks, they can get them to do crazy fucking like backflips and all that stuff is insane. Like that is awesome.
And like, I'm like, I wonder if any of this is like real. And like cars were like the Gravedigger on the first or second thing on a commission for like three different sets. I'm like, God damn, dude, these things get injured.
Oh yeah. And they get that's that's gnarly. That's that seems like quite the run. I mean, it's all exhibition stuff, but still, it's a cool show. Well, nice, man. That's badass.
I don't know why I wanted to talk about that.
No, that's cool.
It's surprised by it. Yeah. All right. I don't know. Anything else that you can think of? It's going to be 2 weeks before we do this again.
Man. Well, shoot. No, I guess by the time the podcast airs, you won't be able to watch the Fire Aid concert anymore. But it is available on Netflix. If you're watching the stream, it's available on Netflix. Sorry, not Netflix, Hulu now. Oh. And there's some incredible sets. That was Val and I did watch that, and that was an awesome concert.
See, I didn't know that was out there. I knew it was in theaters. I didn't know it was on Hulu and shit.
Oh yeah. I'd highly recommend checking it out. There's a lot of surprise guests that pop up, and we ended up watching it for like 2.5 hours, and we finally like went to bed. It just kept going. It was over 3 hours long. And then it's two different stages, so they were going simultaneously. You had to pick which lineup you wanted to see if you're tickets. So, it was really cool. That was really, really cool. Everything, dude, every genre was represented there. So it's a good time. It's a good time.
Not bad. I have to check that out. So many fantastic artists supporting the city. Not bad.
Yeah. I think that's all I got for you, Toasties.
All right. Well, we've already asked it before, but Dennis, one more time, you want to tell these guys and gals and everyone else in between?
Oh, please stay toasty.
I don't know why I set you up for that. Sorry. Stupid.